running through the night, only takes them back. Oh, it's side to side, crowding through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday night, which can only mean it's the final word on the weekend's action. I'm so glad if you can join us this evening. It's the title of the show is Super Six. Super Six because we've won 6 super games in a row in the Premier League, which is absolutely fantastic. I think if everyone had said, where would we be 3 months ago? And if they'd have said we'd have won 6 games in a row, I don't think many people would have believed it. I'd like to know. I think it's 1970, the same as the 5 that we won 6 in a row. So someone, if they can actually confirm that, that would be amazing. And I would like to know if someone can actually tell me the stats. What is the longest winning run Wolves have ever had? In the show today as well, we're going to be obviously getting stuck into the talking points from the game against Leicester, man of the match, and ratings. We're going to be touching on the season tickets because obviously they've come out this week. Asking about pre-season friendlies. Wolves women ended their season today with another fantastic win over Liverpool Feds, coming second in their league, only losing their first game of the season. Incredible. We'll be doing Room 101. We'll look ahead, of course, to the trip to what is now FA Cup finalist Manchester City, and we will be answering your questions. And this is episode, would you believe, 440 of the Always Wolves podcast. And as always, I'd like to say a massive big thank you to the wonderful local company Creation Wolf, who power extra time, delivering the latest and most advanced digital solutions. If you've got a company or a brand, they're the best at taking your online presence and digital capability to the next level. The link's in the description below, creationwolf.com. I know there's a few local businesses that are already using them. And if you want to get on the show tonight to join out my guests, there is a link below for you that you can actually get on the show as well. I'm delighted to be joined this evening by Wolfie and his human, Howler and his human, Hoops. How you doing?
Lovely to be on, mate. Yeah, we're both doing good, I think. So yeah, it's been a while since I've been on, and in your introduction there, 6 in a row, 7 undefeated. We're in a good place right now. It's just a shame the season's near its conclusion, because right now it's a good time to be a Wolves fan.
I'll tell you what, mate. There was a stage this season when I think we were all really, really down. It was really hard doing the content, especially when we've got the live shows, because obviously it was depressing. It was down. There was a lot of worry, concern, anger. It went past anger to sort of apathy and almost no hope. And you kind of think, I just want to be done with it. And now, like what you say, you just don't want the season to end, do you?
No, I suppose it gives you hope, doesn't it, really? You know, many of people will be listening or be used to the roller coaster that is supporting Wolverhampton Wanderers, and we've had many ups and downs. But I think that the key narrative there you touched on was the apathy. It was the point that people just couldn't care anymore, really. They loved their club, but they'd lost the will, they'd lost their fight, and that was really that was really the killer. You know, last year was really tough to watch, and it came off a backdrop of the season ticket prices and that awful run into this season, and it feels a world away now from Ipswich away when they're all falling out, Lamina falling out, West Ham away. The club looks chaotic on and off the pitch, and now suddenly you've got your gaffer bringing everybody on board, and everything's in harmony. So strange old game, or funny old game, someone once said, isn't it? So
It's a funny
and that
old
just
game, somebody once said.
yeah,
And I tell you what,
yeah.
look at Howler's face. He's got rosy cheeks. He's got a big beaming smile. You know, I've never seen him looking so happy, mate.
Yeah, I think everyone's happy, and it's just the mood, isn't it? You know, I went into the ground yesterday, and just before the game, you can sense it, can't you? If people kind of go for a drink before the game, how they're feeling, and there was just a lovely feeling to it. So, long may it continue. But as I say, it's a shame we're going to have to park that excitement until the summer, and hopefully, I'm sure we'll get on to. He gets back, because I think, as we've said all along, this was never really a bad side, but it just needed tweaking, needed inspiration, and we've got that now, and we've got a platform to build on. But let's not make the same mistakes again in the summer, get complacent, and not back this guy.
Absolutely agree with you. I've got a couple of people that are saying the longest winning run. I've got one here, 9 games, March 2014. That's from JS96. John Harrison has said hold your beer to him, and gone the longest winning run is 10 games from 53 and 54 season. And then Gordon Allen Evans has gone hold my beer again and said it's 27 games in 1923-24. So there's a few I'd like to know which one it is. Loads of people saying hello to you, mate. We've got another guest that's coming on now, which I'm sure a lot of you will be happy to see. It is Mr. Sutty. How you doing, pal?
Evening, people. How are you, David? Oops.
I'm good. And how are you?
Good to have you on, mate.
Yeah, pretty good, thank you. All the better for a 7-match unbeaten streak. 1 draw, 6 wins. Everybody's going to be happy with that.
Oh, absolutely, mate. It's night and day, isn't it, mate?
Absolutely, it is. It definitely a season of 2 halves, isn't it? And it just goes.
You've heard of the proverbial game of 2 halves. It literally is a proverbial season of 2 halves, mate.
It just goes to show that the previous head coach was inept, and they held on to him a bit too long, because if this man had been in charge from sort of game 7 after Brentford, we would have been tickling around 8th or 9th place now.
Do you know what? It's funny. We were talking about this yesterday quite a lot. Had he have gone at Brentford, who knows where we could be right now, and we'd have brought him in then.
Absolutely. It just goes to show that everybody, I should imagine, 90% of a 30,000 crowd at Molineux screaming for a back 3 with wing backs, and the idiot playing a back 4 and consistently trying to make a back 4 work, saying that he tried every single option that he got and this squad wasn't good enough. Well, that should tell you everything you need to know about Gary O'Neill, in that he wasn't good enough, and he even hoodwinked me for a little bit, Dave, I'll have to admit.
Well, no, exactly, mate. I mean, I think at one point during last season, most fans were quite happy until and was thinking he needs a long-term a new contract, not 4 years, but an extension. And and obviously that it all fell apart after that. I felt for a long time Gary O'Neill was, I was patient. We were all patient, but you could just see. I mean, Vitor's absolutely night and day in how he talks, how he carries himself, how he talks about the team, how he engages with the fans. He 100% wants to be here, wants to envelop himself with Wolverhampton, with the fan base. He's worked his entire life to get to the Premier League, and he's giving everything, and his team. And Gary O'Neill, for me, nice bloke, very white. He went and had the teeth done, didn't he? Which were, went to Turkey and stuff like that. Did those. Had a great smile, and but was never didn't seem really committed, because he obviously the thing is, or what's been said, he was going home most days. They weren't starting training till 10:30, all of that sort of jazz, and that's an example. And you can kind of see it, couldn't you, really, in the squad. And first thing Vitor Pereira's come in and done is, from his interviews that he's done, is he's come in, he said to the players, I wouldn't be here if I didn't think you were good enough. Straight away, that's why I've come, because I believe in you. He brought back the overnights before even home games, got them back sitting together, eating meals together, brought the training forward, and had a plan, and got that belief. And he seems to be a man manager, doesn't he, Sooty?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think this guy who's come in, quite a clever man, because the first thing he set about doing is ditching bad wood. He's got rid of Lamina. He's got rid of Dawson. They weren't allowed anywhere near. He's even told Guedes, go away, get your head right, because until your head's right, I don't want you, which is good man management for me. He has actually galvanised a whole club, Dave. Before Christmas, we were all singing songs about I don't care about Jeff Shee. You don't really hear that now, because this man has single-handedly, not Jeff Shee, single-handedly galvanised this club by getting fans, quite clever in a way, on board straight away by going and having a cheeky pint with them. Now, it's a working-class game, and working-class men love simple things like that. So, and then he starts to string results together. And when you combine having a fan base on board and putting results together and flying up a league table and becoming the form team of Europe, well, you're going to soon be able to knock on a chairman's door and in the summer and say, look, you have got to back me, because if you fanny around this year, you're gonna cop it big time. And he will. He cannot mess about in the summer. We know there will be sales, and we're all accepting of sales, especially one individual, because we seem to play as well without him as we do with him. So if we can get the 62.5 million in early, and I do believe one more will go, and I don't think it'll be any of the midfield generals. I think a certain wing back might go. Silva will go. Sarabi will be off the wages, and all of a sudden they're going to generate 120, 130 million quid. And if they give him 80, 90 million to spend and show a 40 million profit, and this man gets the players that he wants, I'm saying dust your passports off.
Well, absolutely. Now, guys, there will be a Q&A at the end where you can ask. I know someone put about the Cunha to United. We'll cover all of that up. There'll be a Q&A right at the end of this show. We've already got 3 callers on the line in the green room. So we're going to go to the first of those, who's going to come on for a couple of minutes to make his point, because we've got so many people to come on tonight that are going to jump on to join the panel for 2 or 3 minutes with their quick point. And we've also got some videos that have been sent in, and I think we've got a first-time caller, because it's Oz from Chicago. Are you a first-time caller, Oz?
Yep.
Fantastic. Great to have you join us here on Always Wolves, mate. You're joining myself, Sooty, and the Hoops. What have you got to say?
Well, I'm a huge Vitor fan, and since you guys got Vitor, now I became a Wolverhampton fan. I've been following his career since we got him to Fenerbahce in Turkey.
Right, yes.
And unfortunately, our board made a extremely stupid decision to fire him because of Mesut Özil. We got him from Arsenal at the same season, and he was a toxic element in the locker room. But I wanted to join here today because I really wanted to say you guys are very, very lucky to have Vitor as your manager. He's not only a great coach, he's also great at identifying talent. When he came to Fenerbahce, we didn't have a good team. The first thing he did was he brought Kim Min-jae from China. Nobody knew who Kim Min-jae was. Today, he's playing for Bayern Munich.
Wow.
We got him. We played him. He played great. We fired Vitor, and at the end of the season, Kim Min-jae left for Napoli. Napoli won the Italian league that season, and he went to Bayern after that. The second thing Vitor did was we didn't have any good left backs or right backs, so he converted Ferdi Kadıoğlu from number 10 to left back. He was a bench player. He taught him how to play left back, and today Ferdi is the left back player of the Turkish national team, and Fenerbahce later transferred Ferdi to Brighton for 35 million euro record transfer fee. Vitor created Ferdi. He also brought 3 young players from the under-19 team to the A team in Fenerbahce. One of them was Arda Güler. He was 16 years old at that point. He played him. He was not afraid of playing him. Today, Arda Güler is playing for Real Madrid. He's the Turkish wonder kid.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is give Vitor time and give Vitor some money, not a lot of money, but some money to find these young kids, ages 20, 21, 22, or some players like Munetsi. I mean, nobody knew who Munetsi was. Nobody knew who Agbadu was, really. I mean, I have never heard of Agbadu before Agbadu came to Wolverhampton. He did the very same thing in Corinthians in Brazil. And now, Wolves are on a huge winning streak. 6 games, right? I'm hoping they're going to win Manchester City next week.
We all are.
Like I said, there are a lot of Vitor fans in Turkey now. We are all Wolves fans because of Vitor.
Love it. That's great to hear.
But this streak is going to end. And you guys are going to lose some games, right? And you might lose a few games in a row. What happens is, yes, the board might act stupidly. That's understandable because boards are supposed to act stupidly. It's every once in a while. But fans need to be patient. If you think Vitor as your manager in the long term, just show some patience. I know you're showing a lot of love today to him. Yeah. But this is also related to 6 wins in a row, right? So let's not kid ourselves. I mean, if the team loses a couple of games in a row, and then fans they're going to start to kind of get bitchy. But just be patient. If you stay patient with Vitor Pereira, you are going to have a wonderful team. That's all I wanted to say.
Wow. Well, mate, you're getting so much love from the chat. We've got nearly 500 watching live, and we had no idea what you were going to say when you came on, which is absolutely fantastic. Sutty Hoops, you've obviously heard there what I was got to say. Really insightful there. Any questions or comments back on that to us whilst we've got him on the screen?
Can you remember?
Can
you remember, Dave, when he was appointed? And they were wetting their pants, this lot. Look, this is rubbish, they were saying. He's had 25 different teams. And if you remember, Dave, I did my own work. And I came on here with points per game of this
1.3, and it's over 1.7.
I told you the amount, every club he'd managed. And yes, he's managed a lot of clubs, but he doesn't like to be out of work. And his average points per game was incredible. And they still wet their pants. They're not wetting their pants anymore, are they?
Absolutely not. Well, HJS97 says, can we get Oz on the board at Wolverhampton? Hoops, you got a question there?
More an observation, I think, to echo Sutty's point. I think the issue with the sort of the journey manager tag, I think we were probably weighted with, a Walter Zenga scenario where, it wasn't too far in our distant history. We had someone who had a lot of clubs on the CV. But ultimately, there's context, isn't there? You have to look, and as Oz has articulated, there's reasons for that. There are lots of clubs in Europe who are very trigger happy. They don't see the bigger picture. And this is a guy who ultimately has always wanted, his ambition is to manage here. So, I mean, it's wonderful to hear the insight from Oz, because I think one of the key talking points and kind of observations we'll have going into next season is he going to use the academy? Is he going to, identify some of these younger players? We've got Mane, for example, who I know some of the top clubs are looking at. So the idea that he identifies talent within the ranks is really key. So knowing that he has that, and he's not a manager who just goes out to the market and will look at what's within his capabilities, I think sounds good on all fronts, really.
Yeah, and the reason his tenure was short in Turkey is he was Fenerbahçe's manager. Fenerbahçe is it's like this Bermuda Triangle, right? This is like every manager's dream and the nightmare at the same time. Today, Fenerbahçe coach is Jose Mourinho. We have Jose Mourinho today, and half of the fans are in favor of firing him. Look, I'm about to lose my mind here, because you are thinking about firing Jose fucking Mourinho. Are you nuts? I mean, you guys feel lucky this guy is coaching in Turkey and you're thinking about firing him in exchange of one douchebag Turkish manager? I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Look, so that's why Vitor started coaching the team by like 2-0 behind. And he actually created a great team. We were all behind it. That's why he has this cult following in Turkey today. Like, Vitor went to Corinthians, we became Corinthians fans. He went to whatever the Saudi team is, we started watching that Saudi team's games, because the guy is a good coach, and he's a very underrated coach for some reason that I never understood. I mean, like I said, Everton was about to get him, I think, 3 years ago. And the Everton fans wanted Lampard for him.
You know what? We've had
after that.
I had a comment on a recent video. We have, interestingly enough, lots of fans from for some reason from other clubs that really love the channel and watch. I've had in the last couple of days messages from Arsenal fans, City fans, Newcastle fans, which is great. But there was one from an Everton fan, and he actually said, I can't believe we wanted Lampard over Vitor Pereira. He actually said that. Obviously, I mean, Lampard's doing pretty good at the moment with Coventry, but like it didn't work out for him at Everton, and he was very, very close, wasn't he, to getting the Everton job? And it was a real knockback for Vitor, and it knocked him back. But he never stopped working for his dream to get to the Premier League. And we're very, very lucky, I think, that we've got him.
I mean, if you look at a lot of the managers today in Premier League, a lot of them act like it's nothing for them. They deserve to be there, but they're just acting. I'm sure a lot of them, they are very happy to be there, but they just don't show it. They're not genuine, right? Vitor is genuine. He just says, I want to be here, right? And he's not afraid of saying that. He's honest. And you should appreciate his honesty, and he's trying hard to be a good manager. And I mean, I'm looking at, say, West Ham manager today, or the Everton manager today. I think you guys wanted them before you hired Vitor, right?
And Moyes, yeah, they were definitely sounded out for doubt.
Like, what were their accomplishments? Did they win a Champions League? What did they accomplish more than Vitor did in their lives? So why do everybody think they deserve to be the Wolves manager, but Vitor is not? I mean, just give a comparison that this guy won in Portugal, this guy won in bloody China against Jorge Jesus. I mean, Jorge Jesus is another great coach. He won in Saudi against great managers, right? I mean, this guy competed against great managers of the world, and he won everywhere in the world. And this is the first time in Premier League, and I hope he lasts.
Mate, and I'll tell you something, you talk to his press conferences and he's talking about ambition. He says not wanting to be about relegation. He wants to achieve things. He's a winner, and he's installing that in the team. You can see it. It's early days yet, of course. We've got a big summer coming ahead. A lot of Wolves fans will agree a lot with your sentiment and what you're saying. You know, we understand how transfer windows work. People go, people come in, but you have to strengthen the team. And Vitor Pereira seems to have an identity of what he wants. He's very honest. I don't think he takes fools lightly, but also equally, he's a man manager. He can manage players and personalities, and they seem to be very much buying into it. So look, Oz, it's absolutely, honest to God, you are one of the best callers that if not the best caller that we've had that have phoned in randomly, because the insight that you have given to all of the Wolves fans here is absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure there's a lot of people already in the chat that would love you to come on again with your thoughts and views. So, I mean,
and after we beat Manchester City, I'll be there again. Yeah.
Okay, that's great, because your contribution has been fantastic, because you're coming from a place of experience of being a fan of another team that have seen what's happened and also followed his career very, very closely, and you're very, very knowledgeable about what he's done. And I think we had a fan from a Bournemouth fan that came on here when Gary O'Neill was appointed, and he had a fair bit of stick at the time because he was saying all the things that came to pass, not so positive about Gary, unfortunately, but saying that he relies on moments of brilliance. Everything at the time, everyone was a bit critical, but everything he said came true. So to have someone come on again talking about Vitor Pereira, who's seen it and basically talking with such positivity for us fans of Wolves, it's fantastic. So thank you ever so much for coming on, and please come on again.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
All the best. Cheers, Oz. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Guys, what an absolute. I'm just going to put Tuber on mute for a second because he's in the car. Hold on. There you go. What an absolute brilliant guest he was. Phoning in tonight. Amazing. Takeaway. We've got Tuber that's joining us. He's on his way back from somewhere else. Hello, Tuber. Craig.
Hello, boys and girls. How are we?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Nice.
16 a row, LA. 16 a row, LA. 6 in a row. Whoa, 6 in a row. 6 in a row, LA.
Mate, you're happy, aren't you?
Well, I'll tell you what, we got rid of an idiot manager, and we've got somebody that knows exactly what they're doing. And as long as she and Hobbs don't screw this up, boy, have we got some exciting times ahead.
Oh, mate, absolutely. I mean, where have you been? Where are you on your way back from?
Yeah, I've just done a 3-hour band rehearsal. For those of you who don't know, I've had to give my ticket up for Manchester City next Friday. I'm conducting a concert for PE Day in Coventry Cathedral. So I've just been over to Coventry to conduct the band and take a 3-hour rehearsal with them. So I'm gutted because my missus, right, is going to Man City and not coming to the concert. So,
I know she's coming with us, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. I can't believe her.
She's leaving you. She's leaving you to do the concert and coming to Man City.
She is.
Not a priority, right, mate?
She is. You know what, Dave? We talked about this, and this is not hindsight with us. We were talking about great teams have a structure without the ball, and Vitor talked about the first thing he needed to do was to get some belief into the team, but then get an identity, a structure into the team. And what I love is hearing him talk at the moment about the fact that he now has got to get us firing going forward, getting us an absolute killing machine going forward, and that is so exciting. Our additions are dying for the shirt, and it's brilliant. Absolutely, it's a joy to watch. A demolition of Leicester yesterday. Absolute demolition of them.
Well, mate, it absolutely, it really was. Sooty, I mean, what you? I mean, obviously, you haven't been able to come on for a bit. You've had a lot going on with work and stuff like that. So it's great to have you here. But what's your over the last sort of like 6 weeks and watching Leicester? What are your takeouts, mate?
Takeouts, Dave. I don't know if you can remember, sort of pre-Ipswich at home. I sort of questioned the acquisition of Andre and how I didn't think we actually needed Andre. Wow.
I think, you know what? I think we were all at that, but I think it was because Gary O'Neill was probably feeling like he got to play Lamina.
Yeah, well, I need to take that back, Dave, because we have acquired a brand spanking new 75 plate Rolls Royce for tuppence here. It is an incredible piece of business, and 18 million pound this kid cost.
You have to give Matt Hobbs credit for that, really.
18 million pounds.
He's had some stick, but I mean, Gomez and Andre,
absolutely incredible. I would not swap those two for any other central midfield partnership in the Premier League at the moment. They wouldn't look out of place for anybody in this league at present. Not only that also comes with a change in tactics. Our identity is 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs, and we defend deep, two structured lines, and we've always, over the last 10 seasons, nearly anyway, 8 or 9 seasons, sucked up the pressure and attacked at pace. And isn't it amazing that the last Nuno, for some reason, tried to go to a back 4 because we weren't scoring many goals. It's too defensive, they say. Well, that is bullshit. 3 at the back is not defensive. It's so fast and it catches people out because all of a sudden your wing backs become forward players, don't they?
I don't know if you noticed yesterday. I was watching yesterday, Sutter. I don't know what you know. I was watching the wing backs, and they stay under Vitor Pereira. You got the 3, but they push up really high.
Yeah,
really, really. They don't just sit next to the. They literally were pushing up, almost to the midfield to the attack. Really, right on the touchline.
Absolutely. Now, so there's a change of tactics, and that's come to the manager. Obviously, the manager instills belief in these players because, let's be honest, it was an utter shit show, this club. For 18 games, plus 10 the season before, it was abysmal. And I also called out, just before Christmas, our centre-forward, Strand Larson. I said he was abysmal, and I need to eat a little bit of humble pie there, because he started to bang goals in, and I don't care what he does as long as he scores. Now, with scoring goals, that seems to give him more confidence, but I don't think this is down to Talisman at all. I think this is down to Manetzi doing all his donkey work.
Vitor Pereira has mentioned that the runs he makes is creating the opening for the channels for Larson to get in.
I don't know if you can remember 2 seasons ago when we sold Ruben Neves and everybody was up in arms. We're doomed. You can go back because I've looked at it again, and I said to you, I'm not too concerned about Ruben Neves going, because we've got the pit bull. We have got João Gomez, and it was questioned. That comment was questioned. He'll never be a Ruben Neves. He'll never be a Ruben Neves. Well, he will. He'll be better than Ruben Neves. we get more out of him than Ruben Neves, because not everything has to go through João Gomez. And with João Gomez and Andre tucking in behind him, that allows João Gomez to roam a little bit and be a pain in the arse further forward. And that allows Manetzi to play. And ultimately, that allows Strand Larsen space to get in at front post and stuff like that and score goals. And he is proving to be well worth 23 million when I said I wouldn't be buying him. So I got that one wrong. So we all have to admit when we get things wrong. But ultimately, Dave, nobody will want to play Wolves at present. And that's a very, very nice feeling.
It is.
And I'm in the South Bank, as you know, and the South Bank has come alive again. And it's a nice feeling to be in there. And it's very, very noisy again.
It's been great. I mean, the other thing from the weekend as well, I think we should mention the respect that was played to Connor Cody. You know, it was quite emotional, actually. It was all around the stadium. They sang his song. Obviously, he was focused on the game, but you could tell it meant a lot. In fact, we put a post out. I put a post out on Instagram tonight with a video I got off one of my friends. And Connor Cody's actually replied to that, saying, "Thank you so much, my friend. I wish I could thank everyone at Molineux, everyone in Molineux, a club and a fan base that took me in as one of their own. A moment I will cherish forever." I don't know if you can see that from Cody there, which is really nice. So that
wasn't it funny though, Dave, when they were singing his song. And then started booing him, and he turned around and laughed at us, you know, because
he gets it though, didn't he?
Yeah, it was in jest, you know. It wasn't like I'd have seen people say, "Oh, well, we're people booing Cody." I mean, come on, it's a joke. It's just the irony of it all. But it was
you
brilliant.
You know what? Neves got an absolutely fantastic welcome. Kilman was well appreciated. Neves. And then I feel sad that, you know, the likes of Neto, who got such a lot of love and support from Wolves, the way he came back at Molineux against Chelsea, that kind of put, you know, there's there's players that have left in the wrong way. Jimenez got a great welcome. Wolves fans will always, always welcome a player back and show respect and love to a player if they've given everything for the shirt. And we know that they've just gone for whatever reason in the way, whatever. I mean, Jimenez went obviously because he was bombed out at the Embry. You know, Cody again, he said he never had the chance to say a proper goodbye. Neves, when he went, he was in tears. You know, players like that will always get a really good welcome, and it was great to see and hear that on a very emotional occasion. Hoops, what's your takeouts from the last few weeks? And yesterday, and then we'll come to Craig.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of reasons for the the recent results. I think Sutty's alluded to a couple of key points, and Andre and João Gomez and that sort of machine as it is in the centre of midfield is key. And Sutty's right. I also questioned the Andre sign at the time, and I think I did so not due to the ability of the player, but more so the fact that we were at a point where we were conceding from every corner and we were really struggling, and it didn't feel the right priority at that time, and it seemed a little bit of a vanity project and kind of for a sell on value. But yeah, in hindsight, if you have the opportunity to find a gem, you sign them, even if it's not for now. And if you combine it with the right manager who plays to his strengths, then you've got an absolute gem. I mean, seeing him play in the middle of the park, the partnership that they have, it's just lovely to see. Some players, they're that good. They just feel like they've got more time on the ball. You know, he's got it all in his game. And I think those are the key for us this summer to ensure that we keep hold of, because ultimately, as Sutty referenced, there's going to be a lot of outgoings, as I understand it, this summer. But those two in the middle are key. And also, you can't overlook Agbadu, you know, that centre half coming into form with Totti. You know, so if you look at individual players, then I think the form of Gomez and Andre Agbadu, and also, yes, Strand Larsen. Those are key. That's the spine of your team, isn't it, essentially? You've got your spine of your team. You've also, let's not remember, there was a backdrop of changing the goalkeeper every other week and the uncertainty with that. So we've had Sarr come in pretty much from day one to Vitor and been told, you're my number one. And I think you've seen that with his performances. And then you've ultimately got the spine of that team working and everybody working around it. But as we've said, this was never a bad team. I maintain that this was a top half team. And I think that's as it will be proved ultimately. But it just needed a little bit more inspiration, a little bit more direction. So the structure looks better. The identity looks better. It looks and feels a more harmonious club on and off the pitch. So it's no, there's been no magic wand. There's just been a sense of let's get the structure right. Let's get players in key areas. Bellegarde is a good mention. I can see in the comments. Absolutely a player who was kind of maligned. And to echo the points on Manetzi as well, there's no coincidence really that Vitor came out, I think, in defence of him, because I think he still polarised his opinion. A lot of people that I speak to him still probably aren't convinced about him. But ultimately, I saw in the weekend as well, the work that he puts in, the way he starts the press, is invaluable to this team.
Interestingly, Hoops, there was a bit of, I don't know whether it was on Football Focus or it was on Match of the Day. They talked about Wolves, and one of the clips they showed, and they said this is the 92nd minute, was Manetzi chasing round the back four and the keeper and putting the pressure in the 92nd minute, running like it was the second minute to try and force a mistake. That lad has got an engine. And Vitor Pereira did say when we were talking about the January that he wanted someone that had got a real engine on him, and we found one in Manetzi, and he'll give everything. Obviously, we could have a highlights reel of his misses. So, if he gets his shooting boots on as well, I think he does so much that off the ball that people probably don't appreciate, which is the point that Sutty made. And I think Vitor Pereira has made, that he does create a bit of chaos that opens up other avenues. Let's bring Craig back on for his take as well. Craig, you back on?
Yeah, Dave, thanks, mate. Well, first of all, I can't speak highly enough of Vitor. In his interview, I think on BBC, she asked him what the secret was, and it's something again we've talked about for the last 12 to 18 months. He said it's just simple. And of course, football is a simple game, isn't it? You're very structured if you haven't got the ball, and you let your creative players have the head when you have got the ball. For me, what I'm excited about is we've got a team that represent the fans now. We're Black Country. We'll fight till we die. And we'll forgive anybody that stands with us, even if they fail. And so we've got a squad of players now that are willing to fight for the shirt, which means an awful lot to me. But how many of our younger, newer players are just going to get better and better at the moment? Sutty, I've got to hold my hands up to what I call Strand Larsen. I called Strand Larsen garbage, but to be fair to me, he had been garbage for 6 games. But when Vitor mentioned Manetzi's role, and it's really easy to miss his role because actually he does more damage without the ball than he does with it.
Yeah.
And that's really easy to miss because, of course, normally as a football fan, you're following where the ball is. But that guy hunts down and he puts players under pressure and he creates mistakes. He's also created so much space for Strand Larsen. And yesterday, some of the passing, our players have got the confidence back, and we've got a manager that clearly knows what he's doing, whereas before we didn't, and nobody can tell me anything other. Those players had no confidence in O'Neill. Now they've got confidence in O'Neill. They love us as fans, And I'm just so excited that there is so much more improvement to come from some of these players. Look at Gomez; he's a kid, and he's just playing off the charts.
Great finish as well yesterday from Rodrigo
Andre,
Gomez.
Andre is like the most beautiful Rolls Royce. He just purrs. And what a shame that it seems that we're going to be losing Sarabia, because it's clear now Sarabia is a 25-minute, 30-minute player for Wolves. But what a wand he's got on his left foot. It's unbelievable. Bellegarde's come on board when we thought he was garbage, and he isn't when he's played in his proper position. You know, how many players have come on board in the last 18 games, and the fans we've been able to say, we've got some players here. I'm just excited.
Craig. I mean, all of those points are absolutely bob on, and it's a lot of this is credit down to the manager. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this. We want to talk about the summer and the end of the season and all that. We do have some callers on the line. Scott and Sohan is in the green room. We will get you guys on in a little bit. But before we get to you, we've got some video callers that have come in, and we're going to start with Noah.
It is Noah here from.
Hold on. We'll just take that off the screen for now. We're going to come to that one in a bit. Let's get Noah back on again there.
And Wolverhampton Wanderers 3, Leicester City 0 at Molineux. 6 wins in a row. And now at the dizzying heights of 13th. I'm sure a lot of people have said it, but if you would have told me this would be the case in the fall of this year, going into the winterish, I would have thought you were insane, like legitimately. But yeah, I think today you saw exactly what Vitor Pereira wants to instill in this team going forward. The 2 breaks that we had for the 2 goals in the second half, absolutely magnificent. First, what a ball from Cunha to Larson, who took it really well. Probably could have had a hat trick, even, I'd say, in this match. And then the other move in the second half, brilliant ball from Sarabia, finds Cunha, who then scores with Rodrigo, and he finally gets not a chippy like he did, not a chippy goal like he did against Leicester last time, where it went off his chest and just trickled over the line. Great finish, and put it way out of sight. Of course, we scored early on as well. Aït-Nouri squaring it for Cunha, who, by the way, for whatever stuff that's gone on off the field, absolutely magnificent today. And then, of course, Saw saving the penalty. That was really the only moment. It felt like we were really in control. Leicester didn't really have any chances other than that. Aside from maybe an El Canous strike in the second half, that was, decently wide of the post. But yeah, in the end, we were in control. In terms of man of the match, I got to give it to Cunha, even though he's leaving in the summer. I think Andre is right up there as well. But, anyways, fantastic stuff again. And hopefully we can make it 7 wins in a row against Manchester City. That's going to be a tough test. But anyways, enjoy the 3 points, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and always Wolves.
Absolutely fantastic. And next up, talking is...
This is Chris from Eidsvoll in Norway, speaking after yet another Premier League win. Yeah, I can get used to this. I can get used to the tan card. You know what I mean? It's back again. Cheers, everyone. I've decided to have a pint of Danish lager today. So a bit about the game. You know what? We haven't won an easier game than that, have we? Let's be honest with you. I mean, our players are on it pretty much, and we could have had more than 3 goals. What I really liked about the game today was that we scored 3 really, really nice goals. Nice team goals, all of them. The passing was beautiful. The finishing was great. Could have had 4 or 5. And the bonus, of course, was Vardy missing a penalty. And you could see, actually, couldn't you, that Sarr was furious because he didn't think it was a penalty. He thought Vardy initiated the contact, which he probably did, but these things are always going to be given. But, you know, it just emphasises, doesn't it? When it's your day, it's your day. And when things go for you, they go for you. And they are for us at the moment. They've had 6 wins in a row. Now, I genuinely do not know the last times we won 6 games in a row. In the top flight of English football. I have to look at that because I genuinely don't know. But it must be at least back to the mid 1960s, I would have thought. I wouldn't have thought we've done it very often in that history. These are the good times. They really are. I love seeing the celebrations afterwards, and, you know, I think it's going to be great seeing the picture of Vitor out in the pub again tonight. Look, these are happy days. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Wolves 3, Leicester 0.
Fantastic. And in the backstage, we have a caller, Sohan. So we'll get Sohan on. What would you like to say, Sohan?
Hi, Mike. Can you see me?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Are you a first-time caller?
Yes, I am.
It's great to have you joining us, my friend. What would you
Great
like to
be on
say?
here as well. I think, you know, yesterday was a very good win, and obviously we got 6 in a row now, and that's really, really good. Like, I'm only 17, and obviously in my lifetime I've never seen that, so it's really good, and hopefully we can like keep the run going. But I think there are a little couple of things that I wanted to talk about, and I think it's first of all, it's yes, we've won 6 in a row, but I really, really hope we can continue that because when I look at obviously who we've played against and who we've beaten in those 6 games, it's been everyone that's below us, and that's not me knocking the team or anything because you know every game in the Premier League is still difficult, and you've got to win, you've got to graft, you've got to get the 3 points. But I think the teams that we've played, they've kind of parked a little bit now, and you know they've realised that their season is pretty much over, and they haven't really been going for it the same way we have. I think obviously when you've got a new manager and everything, automatically every player wants to make that a good impression, get themselves in the starting 11 every single week, and like we have something to fight for. We have the relegation to fight for. Not only that though, the players themselves want to fight for their position for next season. They want to ensure that they're still going to be here, and they want Vitor to know that you know they're good players. So that was my first point. And then the second point was about Minetti because I'm like well aware of everything that he's doing on off the ball. Like very good running, last minute, all of that is brilliant. And I just think again he'll be a key player to us next season. Whether he's starting or he's coming off the bench, he's that boost of energy that we've needed. But the thing that he probably just needs to work on is just his on the ball. I think, you know, yesterday there was 2 opportunities where Menezes was on the edge of the box and he laid it off to Cunha, and it was just a little bit put Cunha off balance because the pass wasn't quite perfect to him. And then the second opportunity was a little bit after that. I think he was on the right hand side. He tried to put a cross into Strand Larson, but the cross wasn't really on, and he just put it in. And there, you need to be holding it up. But that was about Minetti, and then I also wanted to say it's a great job that Agbadu's done since he's come in because I still remember when we played against Chelsea and we lost 6-2 at the start of the season. We just first half was fine, 2-2 at half time, fine. Come out in the second half and it's just everyone's everywhere, absolutely all over the place they are. And it was very disjointed. Like Nori was up the pitch about 3 times when Madueke scored, didn't he? 3 times on that right hand side. And since Agbadu's coming, it's like he's been that person that we need. Not just physically, he looks massive, doesn't he? But he's also such a good presence to have because even yesterday there was an opportunity that Leicester had I think his name's El Canous, and he just hit it, and it only went far, just far of the post in the second half. It did an Agbadu as soon as that happened, he had a bit of a go at Semedo.
Yeah,
said,
that one when it curled just past the post, that was one real good opportunity when it opened up from
yeah.
For a second, I think we all held our collective breath, hoping that one nestle inside the post, but it just missed, didn't it?
Yeah, I also think as well, yesterday we did win 3-0, and it could have easily been about 5 or 6, couldn't it? Larson had 2 chances, and Cunha had a chance as well. Guedes had a chance, Rodrigo Gomez had a chance. but it could have easily been a different result because obviously Vardy had a penalty. The El Canoes chance I just talked about. And if they take those two chances, then Leicester they're back in it. Then and I think it's good what we're seeing at the moment, but it's just like I hope that we can continue because all the games that we've won about 6 in a row, and they're against teams that are below us, and I just hope
Can I
that we
make a
can.
point there? Because Chris Humphries made a very good point. 2 months
Yeah.
ago, all of these teams were pretty much above us in the league. Yes, it's fair to say that many of them are now below us in the league, but obviously they were playing under incredible pressure. Ipswich away, for example, Southampton. Yes, they played a Leicester team yesterday that's already relegated, but you saw a Leicester team the week before that played against Liverpool that, they only just struggled to get past. When you've got the pressure off you, you can play with a little bit more freedom. And in the past, these sort of games, we have against these sort of teams, we've often failed to put them to bed. I think it's a sign of a good side that we're doing a professional job on these. Also, against Manchester United, who are, they are below us in the league, and obviously there's links of can you go into United? God knows why would want to go there. It's like not even a sideways step at the moment, but that's all talk. We'll talk about that. We didn't play very well, and we had a bit of a disjointed game, but we still found a way to win. And I think these are all signs of a team. If you don't play very well and you still find a way to win, there's a mentality in the team that now have a winning mentality, where I think before under Gary O'Neill, they'd almost gave up and they had a losing mentality. And he's come in and installed this belief and winning mentality. And I think we're all going to go on for the ride. You are quite right to say, of course, these teams are where they are. And a few people have made that. But it doesn't really matter. Every team that you play in the Premier League, they're Premier League teams. To win 6 in a row is still quite an achievement. And I am really looking forward, Sohan, to going to see how they do against City on Friday night away there. Because I heard Strand Larson talking. He's going, "We believe we can beat anyone." You'd never heard of Wolves players say that in the last 2 or 3 years, would you? I'm not saying we will, but I think they're going there to win.
Yeah, it's my birthday the day before. It is going to be 18.
Yeah, 18.
So hopefully,
you'll be able to go join. If we win, you'll be able to going down into Wolverhampton to join Vitor in the pub. With
I would hope so. I'd really hope so. It would be a good first pint, that wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, mate. Any other points before we
just one more point. When we had Bruno Lage, like there's that period, wasn't there, in February 2022 where we were just flying, and I remember when we lost at Arsenal away, and I remember I was watching at home. I was really, really angry because we were winning that. There's only a couple minutes left and we bottled it, didn't we? And if we won that game, I remember we would have been fourth because I was looking at the table at half time. We were winning at half time and we would have been fourth. And since that point, and since the Leeds match when we lost 3-2, remember 3-2 at home, we lost that, yeah?
I do remember it, yeah.
Since then, it's just like we started to dip off. And then what happened was when it went into the next season, when we got rid of Cody, Bolly, and Saiz, it's like we had a couple of injuries. I remember Jimenez got injured early on. There's a few other players that did get injured early on because the team against Leeds on opening day is pretty weak. And I just hope that doesn't happen with this team as well. And it also happened, obviously, under Gary O'Neill, didn't it? We were flying around February, March time. Then we had the injuries. Coventry game happened. And it just started to fall apart. And I think if those sort of injuries didn't happen, if we got to Wembley, we might not have even been where we are now. It could have been a different story. So we just got the board have got to back him in the window as well. Because
I think this is the key thing that all the fans will be looking to is the summer window. You're absolutely right. Thanks ever so much for coming on and waiting ever so patiently in the green room.
Thank you.
As I say, this is why we put the link in the description below. So, aside from like the main panel, we can have people that come on and can give some points for the discussion. So thanks ever so much. Hope you've enjoyed your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, Sohan. All the best, pal. Keep the faith.
Thank you.
Let's hope we get that win for your birthday.
We will. Don't worry.
Nice one. So, I'm going to go to Craig first now on the next one. Man of the match and performance rating, Craig.
Oh gosh, Cunha was man of the match, wasn't he? I was a bit cross with him. I don't know whether you were for the first 10 minutes because he had two opportunities where he had a man to his right and his left that were totally free, and he was a little bit selfish for me. And had he passed to either of those boys, we could have been 3 up in 15 minutes. But that said, his link-up play was just sensational yesterday. We've been talking over the last year, haven't we, about finding that player to sit between the midfield and the attackers and to join it up. Somebody that can pick a lock, and he did that with absolute aplomb yesterday. He was outstanding, and you know, I hope he doesn't go, but he clearly is. But if he goes to Man United, and if you're watching Matthias, if you're going to Man United, it's a poison chalice. They'll ruin your mate, and then you'll have to come back to us to be mended. So I hope you don't get to that bunch of idiots. Cunha's man of the match. My rating, you've got to give it 8. Haven't you? You've got to give it 8. A super accomplished performance, and I love what you said, Dave. This team now is not frightened to play even under pressure. We played under pressure for so long that even the Ipswich game, which was a real nail biter, as you know, the Southampton game ended up a nail biter. We would have lost yesterday a year ago without any danger at all, and yet we never even looked close. It was like a master and an apprentice yesterday. We were just in a different league to them. And I guess again, my fun moments of the match has got to be that young kid, Rodriguez, Gomez, scoring again. He plays with such joy. I can't wait for him to start playing regular. He's just a joy to watch.
He plays with football like he's playing in the street, you know, as a kid, and you know, and he's got a smile on his face. I just love his attitude. He's got such an infectious attitude, and I think that young lad's going to be quite a player. I really do.
Dave, can I just add the player that I think is going to be a fulcrum of a very successful Wolves side is, everybody's mentioned him, is Agbadou. He is an absolute monster, and he's also a captain. That Slot said that he was really pleased that Virgil van Dijk signed because he was one of a very few captains left in the game. Well, I think we've got one in Agbadou. I think he's for him to tell the captain off yesterday showed me exactly why we want him at Wolves. He's so difficult to get around, and he's made Totti a better player as well.
Mate, absolutely. I think absolutely. Agbadou, his first 2 or 3 games, he was very nervous, and now he just looks like. I think Sutty would probably say it's another Rolls Royce that we've got for the price of a Cortina, because he looks the real deal. And when you're some mascara and you go Bueno, come back next year, and if we can keep Semedo, and then you've got Lima and Rodrigo and Doc, I think will still be around. I think Matt Doherty's still got a job he can do, because I think he will be a brilliant player in the dressing room. He can play centre back. He can play wing back.
Agreed.
He's good cover. Strutty, your man of the match performance rating and highlight.
Well, obviously Cunha was the light that sort of shone across Molineux yesterday. He did have a good game, but for me, I was on Andre watch yesterday.
Oh, mate, what a player!
And I'm giving it Andre because that kid is unbelievable. Honestly, I know what I said earlier on the season that we didn't need him. It didn't mean that I didn't want him. This kid is different kettle of fish altogether. Unbelievable player. So he's my man of the match. He makes football look so easy. He wins the ball so clean. If you watch him, very rarely goes to ground, nips in, steals
Got very
the ball,
low centre of gravity.
drops his shoulder, and all of a sudden, he's got 10 yards of space around him. Plays a great ball, and we're away. So he for me at the moment is the main man. I'll give it an 8.5. And that's the only reason I'm giving it an 8.5 is because I think we could have had a lot more, to be honest. Moment of the day. Well, I got a couple actually. Somebody come up to me in the Billy Wright pub yesterday and said, "Where have you been? Why aren't you on there anymore?" And I can't remember his name now, so I do apologise. But I remember I'll give you a shout out in the Billy Wright pub, and I went up with the Worcester lads yesterday, and it's always just, you can imagine, 8 or 9 lads, all Wolves nuts, and it's just laughter for the whole point of the day, and that's probably what I could do at the moment. And ultimately, aside from the game, seeing our leader, Mr. Cody, back and getting a raucous reception, and I'm pretty sure he left down the tunnel with a tear in his eye. Much appreciated by me for everything he done for our club, and it was fully deserved.
Well said. Hoops and Howler, what's your collective man of the match performance rating and highlights?
I think I've got to go. I'll try and alter it slightly because I probably mirror a lot of what Craig said, really. I think Cunha, to score a goal, get 2 assists in a game, you're kind of nailed on for man of the match. But it wasn't just that. His contributions in terms of, there was a desire in him which we haven't seen in recent times, if we're being honest, and there might be a number of reasons for that. But I think we just showed, I think I commented, he showed us what we're going to miss ultimately, didn't he? Unfortunately, because he was so instrumental yesterday. So Cunha has to get player of the match for me, and yeah, I would go for 8 out of 10. You can only judge your own performance. You can talk about Leicester and how poor they are, but ultimately, we're concentrating on our team, and there were some very good performances out there. We've waxed lyrical quite rightly about the midfield too. I also thought Semedo had a good game. I think he's been so consistent this season. I think he's been a real leader when we needed one, because the previous captain wasn't up to it all, unfortunately, and he's done a great job steering the ship. Moment of the day, I was going to also say Rodrigo, and I think he really gives us a glimpse of what's to come. He had a good pre-season on the America tour. O'Neill didn't think he was quite ready, but he's started to come in, and he seems a real talent. And I suppose to make it personal, family and friends went with Flo yesterday, watched the game in the morning. She got player of the match in goal, and then took her to the game. And every game I get to go with my daughter or family is one I'm grateful for. So a good day all round.
Well said, mate. Absolutely brilliant, and I'm glad that she's doing well, Flo. Right, we've got another video being sent in here, and then we're going to bring on Matt, who's another caller in the green room. So let's. It's Dave from New York Wolves here.
Hey Dave, Dave in New York Wolves here, outside McHale's again. That's about 4 games in a row, and we'll be here on Friday hopefully as well. 6 in a row. Holy crap, who saw that coming, right? Honestly, pretty poor Leicester team. We won 3-0, probably should have been more. It's a bit of a stroll in the park, really. I think we probably should have asserted ourselves a little more earlier on. But comfortable win. Great to see Cunha playing so well and looking really happy. Great to see Rodrigo get a goal. Strand Larsen got 1. Probably should have had 3 or 4. So good win, good 3 points, 6 in a row. We're up to 13th, I think. Feel like we're going to get a nosebleed soon because we're so high up. But just great day. And I think it's all about the summer now. What are we going to do with Cunha probably leaving, maybe Aït-Nouri, whatever. Who's leaving? Leaves. Who are we going to bring in, and what are we going to do to support Vitor? That's really what it comes down to. So, great day. We're safe. We were safe last weekend, and nice stress-free end to the season. And we can look forward to next season. So up the Wolves, and I'll talk to you next week. See ya.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Now, to come in the show tonight, just to let you know, well, we're going to be talking about season ticket, pre-season friendlies, Wolves women, which is going to be an interesting one with some breaking news on that. We've got Room 101, look ahead to City, and your questions answered. Before we get onto that, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out for a couple of people because the London Marathon has taken place today. And, you know, Mr. Manny, there he is, looking very, very smart. He has done his fourth marathon today. I actually think them colours look really good on it. I think that he rocks them colours that he's got there. And he completed the marathon today in Age of Dementia UK. And I promised Manny that I would put the link to his Just Giving out on the show. So if you want to support and want to donate to Manny, the link is in the description below. Say he's completed the marathon today, and we want to say big well done to him. Obviously, you see Manny regularly here on the show on our podcasts, and also a big shout out to Jason Guy's wife, Amy. There she is on the screen as well. She also has completed the marathon today, and she's been, I do believe, raising money for breast cancer now. And the link to her fundraiser is also on the screen for you as well. So if you want to donate to both, you know, want to throw a $5 into each or a pound, it doesn't really matter what it is. Just to help support them. You know, they support a lot of what we do. Obviously, you know Jason, you know Manny, you might not seen Amy so much, but like she's gone and done that marathon along with Manny today. So if you want to give them a bit of support, their links have gone up in the chat and on the screen, and we are incredibly proud of them, of course. I want to bring on now another caller, which is Matt onto the show, who's rang through to, and we've got Tuba's actually home now, so we can unmute him from the car. Yeah, there he is. Oh, let's see if we can unmute him. There, can you hear us, Craig?
I'm
there
here.
He is. He's back home. We can see you now. He's been in the thing. We're going to bring on Matt, who's a caller who wants to come in and say a few bits. Hello, Matt. Welcome to the show tonight.
Hiya, Dave. Long time now speak.
Pardon, mate?
Long time now speak.
No, absolutely. What would you like to say to the panel, mate?
First off, I want to start off about the season ticket and membership prices.
Well, great. Do you know what? That is a seamless link, Matt. I'm really glad, because that is the next item that we want to talk about. So I had no idea you were going to bring that up. So
I've decided actually at the end of this season, I'm actually giving up my membership because simply what I'm charging, and I don't go that regularly anymore. And for me, the way they've treated the fans and the club, and I'm sure Sutty will agree with me, has been nothing short of disgusting. I mean, I know you're going to come on to the Wolves women news, and when I saw it, I was quite shocked at what I read. And
we'll cover that off in a bit, yeah. I mean, what are you? I mean, on the season tickets, right, mate? I mean, obviously season ticket. I mean, I don't know what has your membership price gone up?
I imagine it probably will go up to about £50.
But you don't know?
Not sure, but I mean, it's good that them freezing across the board, but then it's only going to be worth it if they improve on this season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, on the season tickets, and then we'll get everyone else's view on this. Look, this channel, along with the Trust, along with other podcasts and other channels, we stood shoulder to shoulder last year with Fancast, Talking Wolves, Wolfpack, you know, all the, you know, the 1877, all the podcast. We all got together alongside the Trust, and we stood shoulder to shoulder to make sure we put pressure on because obviously it was a 17% increase for adults last year, and they were going to be putting up concessions significantly, and we did get a reversal on the concessions, and we got a promise of a price freeze for this year. And of course, everyone, you know, you're never going to completely change something. We're going to take your wins, and we said all along they will be held accountable for if they keep to the word for this year. So the big I mean, we said it on the channel last year. We think there was going to be a freeze across the board. They have frozen season tickets for everyone for next year, and concessions haven't gone up. That was the worry, that they were going to put the concessions up. And Wolves do have, I think, the cheapest under 14 ticket in the Premier League. So obviously, I don't know your circumstances because you're a member. You've paid the money this year. If they freeze the prices for you for next year? Why would you not? You know, if they're not putting the prices up, why would you? Just because you don't get to go much?
For me, it's just obviously I have a busy life outside the football as well. So, and you know, I sort of mental health wise, and I'm not really there at the minute. And with everything that this season we've been through, I mean, obviously now I'm 20 points clear now, or 23 points clear.
Been stressful, mate.
You know, it's really, you know, this one pack mantra they've got. The communication between the owners and the club needs to be, like the fans needs to improve. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is an open invitation to Vitor Pereira. I'd love to go and sit at the pub with him and do a little interview. That'd be great. Max, if he's watching, for the media team, me and Dave from Talking Wolves would love, you know, to go together and sit in the pub and do an interview with Vitor. There's an open invitation to Jeff Shee to come in on the channel, and we wouldn't stitch him up. We'd be fair and stuff. Matt Hobbs, we'd love to do all these interviews. Obviously, we'd love to do these, but we don't get that level of access. But fair, Jeff does do a column in the Express and Star, rightly or wrongly, and when he puts something out, it gets ripped to shreds. So there is an argument to say, yeah, it's great to hear more communication, but when he does communicate, it gets taken to. He gets ripped to shreds. So do they or not? But I mean, I'm not trying to defend or anything, because communication is very, very important. Sooty has quite rightly mentioned that we're winning and all. You know, they're not singing so much about that song. But let's just see everyone talk, because I think the key point on the season tickets is they got it completely wrong last year. You can never get a ticket go to general sale. So if the thinking was, oh, right, we'll put the prices up and we'll sell the rest of the tickets and we'll make more money. Well, empty seats that are left at Molineux every single game means unsold seats. So it defeats the objective of a price rise, because it's priced some people out to come in and seats haven't been sold. So I don't think that would have gone down well at Fosun HQ. The fact that the prices have gone up, they're hoping to make extra money with sold out stadiums, and then you're not selling seats. I'd like to hear from Hoops first on this one. What's your take on all of this? And then we'll go around to Sooty. Yeah. And Matt, if you stay on.
Look, I think, you know, everybody's got different circumstances, and as Matt has alluded to, everybody's got their reasons for renewing or not, and so forth. But on a wider point, you know, there was obviously a big discussion in the previous summer about the benchmarking, which, you know, we won't go over in too much detail, but ultimately the benchmarking didn't make sense in terms of, you know, the economical ability of our fans in comparison to Fulham, for example, and so forth. And, you know, so the idea that the prices are frozen is kind of, in my opinion, it's a nice little PR spin, but ultimately, if the prices were too expensive at the first point, then actually it's not really a big win that they're frozen. ultimately, I don't think the fans are getting enough for their match day experience. I mean, you'll know, Dave, because you travel up and down the country as does City. You know, a lot of clubs invest in, you know, fan parks, in hubs, in facilities. We don't do that, you know, as I see it. So I think when you're looking for value for money, ultimately you want your football team to be doing well. But also I think you're looking for an all-round experience. What are the facilities like? You know, I know we all had a laugh last year about the bollards and not being painted and so forth, and they finally got their paintbrushes out. But for me, ultimately, without getting too deep on this, football at its core is, of course, a working class sport. And it is very expensive. If you've got kids, you know, it's you don't just take them and expect them that they're not going to have drink and food and so forth. And I know that's on you, but ultimately, I've got many friends who follow non-league football that are Wolves fans, but they do so because A, they feel disassociated with the club, and B, that they're just ultimately priced out. So everybody will have their own individual personal and financial circumstances. We know that this season has pretty much every game gone to general sale, which, you know, for a period of time was unheard of. You know, the idea that you could just choose your tickets the night before or even on the morning, select seats, and have that sense of availability has spoke volume. So I think the concession pushback was great, but I think more can be done. And ultimately, you know, you're competing with the idea that fans now, through other methods that we all know that they can do, they can get a little fire stick in their hands and they can watch games. Let's be honest, people are doing that. So you've got to drive people to the game. There is nothing that, you know, you can't replicate being there. It's the ultimate, you know. I love football, I love being there. But if people have got the choice that they can watch their 3 o'clock kickoffs by other means, how are you going to motivate them if, you know, on a cost of living crisis where people are struggling? So I think more could and should be done. But ultimately, if they're selling, you know, 25,000 tickets at, you know, 50, 60 quid, they'll prefer that than selling 30,000 at a reduced value because they make more money. So it's all about what's on my head. What is that number above my head about what I spend in the club shop, what I spend in the concourses? But ultimately, they have done. They will drive people away. People will come back because results naturally will bring people back. And there is a place for corporate and entertaining clients and so forth. But you've lost a lot of fans, and unfortunately, you won't ever get them back. And a freeze isn't going to be sufficient for a lot of good fans who've had to walk away.
Well said. Great, absolutely. Sutty, want to come in on the season ticket renewals, your initial reaction to the news that it's a freeze across everything and your overall opinion? I think Hoops makes a really good point. Match day experience is really important about the quality. The Steve Bull stand keeps coming up and up and up again. It's not really great experience. Certain other stands a bit more space. What's happening with the development of Molineux? I've heard they're going to be putting more licks of paint around the place this summer. There might be some infrastructure changes. We'll wait and see. But what's your initial reaction to the freeze, and not only the freeze for adults but on concessions, but your overall bigger picture, and then your overall bigger picture?
Well, initial reaction on the freeze is. Well, I fully expected him to keep to his word because he tried to dodge out of it last season. And as you well know, at the death, it was a 3-hour discussion to get the reductions that he eventually made last season, although he kept some price hikes in, as we all know. And I believe it was to generate overall about £3.2 million a year on season tickets, which, let's be honest, that's what we sort of were paying Fabio Silva. It's ridiculous amount of money to cause so much turmoil. And when you stand where I stand within that ground day and look at that beautiful North Bank, which, let's be honest, the whole stadia should be as the North Bank is. That's what we should now be looking at. We shouldn't be talking about it. That is what it should be now. And When I look up at where you sit, because you can't see it, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of empty seats just in that one stand every single year. Now, his ticketing strategy has backfired massively, because if your product is good, Dave, on the pitch, and the experience is good off the pitch, you will not be able to buy a ticket. It's as simple as that. But if you keep pissing people off all the time, they won't come. Now, you know, and I know that there are supporters this year who have been going 40, 50 years who said, we just can't do it now. He's priced us out. He's priced us out. And you know, and I know that this man is an ice man, and he doesn't give a shit for you, me, or anybody else. The only thing he cares about is making a spreadsheet with figures look good back home in the motherland. And he will never change. I just hope that the likes of this young man here can get to games, and because they're the future. I'm not the future of this club. You're not. Craig's not, unfortunately. We're in our twilight years of following this football club. We've seen it all. And without these young kids, if he keeps pricing kids out, it's going to go down the pan. They're the future, and we must look after them. And we must always pull this man to account for pricing them out. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely on that point, but as I previously said, the concession tickets, Wolves are the cheapest in the Premier League for youngsters, apparently. I mean, that's what I'm told. So they have to be applauded for that they haven't put them up. I'm not
but
sure.
Dave, sorry on that, but who's going to take them?
Well, that's the point.
You know what I mean? You're right. You're absolutely spot on. You know, the concession price, you know, is low, and that's fantastic, and that should be applauded. But ultimately, they're going to need adults with them, aren't they?
Adults to take them. My personal view, and I'm going to come on to thingy that the price rise last year was just ridiculous. I think, like Sutty, it was like, oh yeah, we've got 8,500 on the waiting list. Oh, they'll easily get snapped up. 2,000 odd people didn't renew last year. It went to something like 7,500 on the waiting list to replace those. I think it was a miscalculation. And then if you and again, in terms of economic values and stuff like that, if you've got a team that isn't winning as well and not doing very well on top of everything else when we've been benchmarked, and you've got empty seats, that extra money that you're trying to raise from putting the prices up, you've lost, because you're not selling you're not selling the other seats. It would have been more sensible for me to have a much lower increase and keep the stadium filled, because atmosphere is really important. And I commend the fact that they've froze prices this year. It would have been a brilliant PR exercise if they'd come down and gone, do you know what, we're going to reduce it by 5%. What a PR thing. But it's kept to the word, and they have kept the concessions, which I know the Fans Advisory Board have worked hard on as well on regards to that. But I still think they made a massive own goal last year, and that's ended up actually not making the money that they wanted, and they've lost people because of it.
Can I just quickly say something, Dave, before Craig has his they're budgeted this year for us finishing 17th. That's where our wage bill is, 17th. So we've budgeted for 17th. It's feasible that we could finish 11th, 12th. So from 17th, that's another 5 places. So that's the best part of £12.5 million. That he was going to make £3.2 million on the increases from last year, right? We're 12.5 million above. He could have said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to drop this. He would have been up there. Now, he'll never be up there with me, but as a club, he could have done this. But again, it's about making the spreadsheets look good. He could have done much more. He could have done much more.
Absolutely. And look, you've got to look back and, you know, that there's a lot of unhappiness and unhappy fans, and you want them to hope that they don't make the same mistakes again. The season tickets are frozen. Everyone's moved on from that. We don't know what the membership prices or the match day prices will be. I'm sure that Matt will find out and update in due case. Let's hear what Craig's thoughts is to come in now. Craig, if you can, I'll just unmute you because I think you were the clicker. There you go.
Yeah, cheers, Dave. I've got a head and a heart thing here. My heart says that the area on a demographic basis is quite deprived, quite poor area where Wolves fans come from. And I was really shocked when I went online just to check what a home ticket was being the South Bank, and I was astounded when it was £54 for one seat in the South Bank. This is a working class domain, and I sat there and I said to myself, well, hang on a bit. If a dad takes two kids up to a match, you're going to get much change out of 150 quid. And we're talking about nets here. So let's sort of put aside the right and wrongs of the game for the moment, and let's just talk about the budget of a working class family. 150 quid a game, and we're at home twice a month. So that he has to find £300 if he wants to take his kids to the match. Now, £300 on a working class budget, I can tell you, there aren't many families that I know that have got £300 spare, and that is a practicality. That is a real practicality that people are looking at on a daily basis. So when it's easy and glib, isn't it, to say that you're pricing somebody out, you really are. This is not people using an excuse to say, oh, you know, she's stuffing us or whatever. These people are saying, what am I going to have to go without to take my boys up to see a 1.5 hour game of footy, which, let's be honest, before Vitor came, was actually coming to watch us get absolutely battered in a pile of muck. And then for she to do that last year, is the freeze is right and proper because he promised to do so. But it's a bit disingenuous given the percentage rise last year. It's almost a 2-in-1 increase in 1 year, isn't it? So that's my heart, and that's my local business experience head on. My head says that if I go to a restaurant in Mayfair, I'm going to have to pay £300 to £400 per head for it.
Mate, if you go to watch
at the table,
if you go to watch a band, look how much the Oasis tickets go for, 300-400 quid. You know, and they're on for an hour, or you go and watch a comedian, you pay that much money. You know,
if we're playing,
I'm just saying that's entertainment.
Dave, and it sounds disingenuous from us because we're working class people.
Yeah,
but we are playing in the best football league in the world. When you travel to the Far East, or you travel to the continent, all that they talk about is Premier League football. So we are feasting, and I'm afraid a 5-star table, and it ain't my money. It's a Chinese funder, and it's easy for me to ask him to spend 50 million quid because it ain't my money that I'm spending. I'm asking somebody else to spend theirs. So my business head says you can't sit at the top table and not pay for it. My heart and my local loyalty and my belief is that they could have found a better way to make sure that working class people can go to see the game in an affordable way and still survive. Because what they've also done, Fosun have done, which they haven't looked at and we've talked about many times, how many hundreds of millions of pounds have they wasted on crap players? And and basically what you're saying is the increase in the price ticket, because it's going to this self-sustainable model, the fans have paid for Fosun's bad business decisions, and that's not fair because it's an absolute passion and I believe a right for local people to support their team.
And I'll tell you what, Craig, this comes back, you know, if you look at some of the clubs in Germany, for example,
Absolutely.
you know, Chris talks about this. They have built stadiums which have got 40, 50,000, 60,000 seater stadiums. I mean, the team that Chris supports, who we've all got a soft spot for now, Dusseldorf. They're in the second division, the championship of the, hoping to get back into the Bundesliga. And I think they've got tickets from between 10 to 20 to 30 pounds, but they've built the stadium and they've made it very affordable for the average person to come. So they fill the stadium and then they spend more on food and drink and, you know, things like that. I think you look across, the thing that frustrates me is you look across to Villa. Yeah, they're looking to improve their stadium. They've invested in some of the match day experience stuff that they've done. Leeds are talking about it. Birmingham City, League One, got new owners, built land to build a new stadium. United, you know, there's lots of teams that are looking at the infrastructure and building that match day experience and then building on the back of that hotels and all sorts of things on the back of that. The thing that frustrates me is, where is this plan from Wolves? Where is the plan? Where's the plan to, you know, we had to moan to get it painted last year, and I think they're continuing that. But like the Steve Bull stand isn't really fit for purpose for a Premier League match day experience for a fan.
Yeah,
And
Dave, can I just come in there? I'm watching World Affairs very, very closely at the moment because, to be fair to Fosun, we all know that one of the biggest things was the Chinese government's absolute zero tolerance to foreign investment, and that's a sort of known secret. However, with the behaviour of Trump and the American regime at the moment, China are courting the West basically, and I think that could change with the current economic turmoil created by Orange Tango Face.
I know Sutty is going to come in and has got something to say on that particular topic. I think it's in reference to the World Cup coming up. Sutty, is what your point's going to make, isn't it?
Yeah, well, see, 2018, the World Cup in Russia, the biggest spender on advertising in that World Cup was the Chinese Republic, and they spent $1.3 billion just in advertising. 2022 in Qatar, the biggest spenders of advertising in that World Cup globally were the Chinese government, who spent another $1.3 billion in advertising. Next year, we have another World Cup, and the only football club of note worldwide really owned by Chinese companies is Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I'm pretty sure that the Communist Party of China will tell Fosun International, make sure that Wolverhampton Wanderers are given the best tools to get into Europe, because we need a base. We have nobody. And I'm pretty certain, now everybody knows I do not like this company. I do not like our chairman. But when there's something global happening on a sporting front, i.e. football World Cups or European Championships, that is when they are more likely, especially the World Cup, that is when they're more likely to splash the cash. And I think you'll find with Vitor Pereira doing such a good job and everything looking rosy, and there's no more Jeff Shee chance really, you get the odd one away from home, all of a sudden you may well find that they are going to pump some money in, or be told we'll release the purse strings and you must invest. Now, I don't for 1 minute think that will be infrastructure, because that is going to be lots and lots of money at Wolves, because it's literally falling down in places. But team wise, for the here and now and a quick fix to make it look good, I think that we could be spending a serious amount of money in this summer window.
Absolutely. And I'm going to come back onto that. And Craig, had you finished your point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Matt, I'm just coming back to you, mate. Listen, obviously keep us up to date with the members pricing, because like it's important, I think, for your mental health, because I know you've had issues. You're always welcome on this channel. You can always get in touch with me if you ever need any help with anything, and any of the guys on here. We're there to support.
Make a quick point about like Wolves women. A big ups to Dan and the team for taking it to the final day and coming close to winning the title. Big ups to them, and big commiserations to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to come on to that. And like, so I hope you do get to games, because I do think getting out, mixing with people, mixing with the fans and stuff, and especially the team, hopefully that, get out and about. But like, if you ever need anything, just as always, we're all here for you as well, mate. So, I hope it's been good you coming on tonight. And thank you for raising that subject. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and if I can, Dave, if you do have any trouble next year, Matt, drop me a message as well.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
I
just want to say,
I often have a ticket there, so I can help you out.
Lovely.
On the subject of Wolves, I know you're going to come on to it. I've been seeing a lot of backlash with the news going to come on to shortly, and a lot of people are very upset about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is breaking news, and we're going to come on to it right now, actually. So, Matt, thank you ever so much.
No problem.
Well done,
Cheers.
Matt.
So, we're going to talk a little bit more about pre-season friendlies tonight, but I'm going to bin that off. But I think it's likely to be Europe somewhere, because obviously they haven't been able to commit anything major, because not knowing what division there is. Now, I've only been sent this. I don't know how it's going down on social. It's what? Sorry. It's not going down very well. I haven't looked, but like Beth Merrick. First of all, we're a big supporter of Macca Wolves women. I know some people ain't interested in that, and that's fair enough. Or women's football, they wear the Wolves badge. They train. They've done an incredible season. They lost the first match of the season 4-0 to Forest. It's the only game they've lost this season. They've battled right to the last day. They beat Liverpool Feds today, and Forest have won the title. The top club in which is effectively the division below the Championship, so effectively League One, goes up to the Championship, which is the division below the WWFC, which is obviously they're looking to expand. I think Wolves invest a lot of money in esports and things like that in terms of the brand. They invest a lot of money in that. I think the women's game is an opportunity to grow the Wolves brand. And you've seen Forest that have gone professional. They've lost out. Burnley are fully professional. They've finished above them. Newcastle went through last year, fully professional, won that. Forest have got promoted with a fully professional team against our girls are all amateurs, basically, on two or three on part-time contract. They did make Macca full-time, and they've done it incredible. And, it's still 11 versus 11 on the pitch. It's still entertaining, still get some drama. We go down and cover it as often as we can. And they finished second in the league. And it's an incredible achievement, and we applaud that. And if you've ever been down to Telford to watch, they get a decent crowd. It's a good atmosphere. Hoops, I know that you've been down there. Before I come on to this next point, you've took your young girl a couple of times to watch. Would you want to just talk about how it's inspired her to play and get involved with football and all that sort of stuff before I get on to this point that I'm going to get onto in a second?
Yeah, I think what I find with the Wolves women team, where the Wolves first team can kind of be, because they're on a Premier League platform, a little bit out of reach for the support. What you get with the Wolves, I guess, women team is you get the access. So People will know when they go to the games. The players are absolutely wonderful. They'll come over to the girls and the boys at the end of the game, and you kind of get that access, so you get to know the players, their personalities. So I've watched them on a number of times. I know Maka and Jenna behind the scenes, Anna, so many people involved, work really hard. And to your point, Dave, on a unequal playing field, particularly this season, for example. So the model isn't quite a hybrid model, but you're right, there are a couple of players who have contracts, Tammy and someone correct me on a couple of others maybe, and as you say, Mac is a full-time role, as is Jenna, who's the head of operations there as well. Ultimately, when we talk about finances and money, it wouldn't take us to get them to a point where, you know, they can be on a more equal playing field. So, yeah, absolutely, from a legacy point of view, from an inspirational point of view, with the girls' game being as big as it is, it's probably never going to be at the men's level. And they're not expecting that. They're not expecting equal pay or anything in terms of what they get. But they do, for a team that wear the shirt, that are associated with the club, I don't think they feel that they get the support that I feel that they deserve from what I can gather. And you know, there was, I think, 700 there at Telford today. You know, there's thousands that go and watch them, and they are inspiring the next generation. You know, I watch my girl, she's 8, every Saturday morning. Loads of girls are interested. There's a real appetite for it, and it wouldn't take a lot to inspire more of the next generation, to give them a little bit more support. I think the job Mac has done is amazing within the tools that he has, and he hasn't been given a lot of tools. So I think what you're referencing, because Dave, I've not been on social media for the last couple of hours, is some frustration, isn't there, from one of the players who's been quite vocal on this.
Absolutely, and I'm going to get onto that. I'm also going to bring on Chris, who's from the Trust as well, and you'll know him. But I'm just, first of all, this is breaking news tonight. And I'm frustrated with this as well. And it's breaking. We're going to talk about it. We don't often talk in depth about Wolves women. I know some people might think why, but they are Wolves. They represent the club and they do it with pride. This is one of the players, Beth Merrick. Now, first of all, I'm going to tell you about Beth Merrick. She's a top girl. She's a season ticket holder. She goes and stands, I think, on the South Bank. She's in the stands watching the Wolves men. She's a fan. First and foremost, but she's also a long-standing player for Wolves women, and she's put out a tweet today after the game that she's been involved in today, and that tweet reads, going into today's game, still in contention for winning the league, and having to write this is crazy. Imagine fighting for promotion all season to find out our championship bid, which is obviously to get into the next division ahead above, was never submitted. Now you have to submit a bid to get promoted, obviously to do with the infrastructure and all that sort of stuff. And so sure Chris will talk a bit more about this in a minute. As a group, we are absolutely devastated to finish the season this way, and believe it speaks volumes about the club's ambitions for the women's team. For our staff to have to deliver this news to us moment after is astonishing. Some of us have been a part of this club for many years with endless amounts of success, which has grown year on year through all the highs and the lows. Our players, staff and fans deserve so much better. The staff are putting hours of dedication in a bid to be never submitted. The gravitas that we have collectively worked hard to create has supported women's football growth and the movement of if you can see it, you can be it throughout Wolverhampton. It's not about the money. It's about the honesty and transparency. Ironically, not very apparent with the One Pack campaign. This is Beth Merrick, as I say, is a Wolves player, and obviously very upset after hearing this news. It's been released as I'm coming out. Chris, you're coming on. You're part of the Trust, as well as obviously one of our team. And you've just messaged me about coming on this. What would you like to come in and say first of all on that?
Yeah, I think it's very sad, Dave. it's, you know, when you get a player, a supporter, because Beth Merrick is, I think Beth didn't start the season with us. She played last year and then came back midway. She was a little bit disillusioned with football, I think, and then came back to us this year. And when you see that response and effectively a whole team of players have been playing for something that they thought they could achieve and have, you know, gone right down to the wire and lost to a professional side, to find out that the club has never intended for them to move or go forward into a higher level because it didn't put any paperwork in, which it has done previously on other years. So it's not very good. And the last line in Best statement that says not really one pack. It's, you know, it ain't really one pack, is it? You know, there are a lot of detractors of women's football, and it, you know, if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. It doesn't stop people having their element of football, and what we're effectively saying is, as a football club, we don't really want it. We'd rather watch kids shoot Space Invaders and back that. You know, if people, you've heard from Hoops about his daughter being involved with it, and you know, what can she aspire to? And the sad thing is, it doesn't look like she can aspire to anything wearing a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt, which is pretty sad. So as a trust, I'm pretty sure we'll be putting out something in the next couple of days. Very sad that we've, you know, having to address this after, you know, we've been putting things out in the last couple of days saying what a decent job the club have done in terms of upholding its prices and, you know, and the concessions. And I know people want, you know, we're looking for maybe a reduction, but they did uphold what they said. Congratulating on that. And then the next minute, you know, we're hearing this, and it's, you know, it seems as a football club, we take one step forward and 10 steps back. And I just really don't know what to make of it, really.
Sutty, coming, I don't know if you've been down to watch the women or not. Sutty, you might have done or not, as I say, but like, what's your reaction to that tweet from Beth? Really, she's a fan. She supports the team. She played for the women. She's a great little player, along with all of them. And it seems like they've put all this effort in, and then to be told that there wasn't, that if they'd have won the league, they couldn't have even gone up.
Look, Dave, I'll be honest. I have never, ever been to a women's football match. And I'll be brutally honest with you as well. It doesn't hold much interest to me either.
And that's fair enough. There's a lot of people it doesn't.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to sit here saying, oh, yeah, look, Fosun are custodians of our football club, which means one day they will not be here. And the day that they're not here is the day that it doesn't do anything for them as a company. We get lots of people on here saying, whoa, we've never had it so good. We've never had it so good. Possibly we haven't, but they do state, these online experts, that Fosun constantly make a loss. Let me tell you this. Fosun would not be in this football club if overall within their company there wasn't gains to be made. I've said this to you time and time again, that worldwide exposure to 1 billion people with Fosun Group flashing up round the outside of your stadium on match day, straight to 1 billion viewers, is absolute peanuts on a worldwide advertising scale. If they had to pay for that without Wolverhampton Wanderers, it would cost them billions every year. So we're cheap, and that's why they like us. Now, unfortunately, the women's game is 100 years behind the men's game. That's reality. That is the reality of it. They're 100 years behind the men's game. So they are nowhere near generating the monetary value and exposure that an investment company wants. Unfortunately, I don't care. I don't think Jeff cares. Not I don't care, sorry. I don't think Jeff cares one iota for the women's team, because on the spreadsheet, he will make it look like it's a loss maker. And all he's bothered about is going back to the parent company saying, look, I'm making this or I'm doing that. I feel sorry for him. I really do. They've got the right to play in our shirt. They've been playing in it for umpteen years now. They've obviously had good times. They've probably had some bad times. But while they're wearing that shirt, they should be backed. Now, keep going back to these season ticket hikes, Dave. He was hell bent on making £3.2 million on hiking season tickets. 3.2 million. Now, I've just said that's peanuts. Now, I'm pretty sure if he put £1 million or £2 million a year into the women's team, they could go on to the next level. He won't do it. You smash your head up against the brick wall, mate. This man is a dictator. He will never, ever change.
I'll tell you,
Dave, it's slightly confusing because any money that the club spends on the women's football is outside of any PSR calculation. So there is no limit to the club not wanting to spend money on the women's game because it doesn't affect the PSR calculation. It is literally, we don't care about Jeff Shee. He doesn't care about the women.
Do you know what, Chris? This is something that I don't get. Jeff Shear's got 2 young girls, daughters, I believe, who should be inspired by, women's football. You look at the women's game. I know Sutty says like they're maybe 100 years behind. It's probably not that much, but women's football in this country was banned for 50 years. And so they are a long way behind, but it is one of the biggest growing sports, if not the biggest growing sport in the world. You look at the World Cup, you look at the Euros, the Lionesses, you look at some of they're being on mainstream television. Sky are covering games. The WSL is looking to expand from 12 the number of teams. More teams are going professional. Nottingham Forest, Burnley, Newcastle's done it. Liverpool and Man United have invested, and look where they are. And they're getting these players which are inspiring. And you look at the games growing. The women's game, the women's team have gone up to have had up to like 5,000 people watching them, which is a lot more than some non-league, League 2, League 1 sides. Which is amazing because the Wolves fans will get behind it. If the Wolves women got to a women's FA Cup final or a League Cup final, the majority of the Wolves fan base, I would say, including Sutty, would probably go, and if they're in a final, and probably would go and support them if they got there. And they've got all of these opportunities, and it really frustrates me because they're doing it with one hand tied behind their back, and they're in a division competing against fully professional teams, and they're achieving amazing things. Mac has done an incredible job in the team that they've got there. They do get the facilities at Compton, great. They don't have to pay for their own kit anymore like they used to have to, great. There's a couple of the girls that are on part-time contracts, great. But in the scheme of things, if they invested just £1 million, and Sutty talked about the 3.2 million on the season ticket. They invested just £1 million.
But Dave, it's not. This is not about Wolves not investing in the women's team. This is about a club who is allowing the team to perform with both hands behind the back, because it doesn't matter how well they perform, they're not going up.
It's wrong, and why would they not want them to go up? It's like, what's the point of being in a competitive league if you can't go up? It's just ridiculous. And for them girls, the team that are putting their hearts in, how many of them are going to stick around in a team that have got no ambition?
Well, your manager's not going to stick around, is he? You're not going to be able to keep the coaching staff if he's managing a team that he's never going to excel and he's going to excel in the league but never get the deserved promotion. He's not going to be able to show his skills up at a higher level. At some point, he's going to leave to do that. So,
let's be honest here. Please don't tell me you're surprised by this.
No one is surprised. I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated and all because with Emma, we go and support the girls. We go and cover it. We do, as a fan channel, we try and cover everything that we can because, like, they wear the shirt. We try and go down a few. We don't go every game, but we try and go as often as we can to support, to cover it, to go down and help promote what they do. And like, there's loads of people that go and support them. There's a lot of people that that think, oh, they're not maybe bothered about the women's game, and they don't go, and that's fine. But there are a lot of people that are, and like who said, it inspires. We look at our players, and young girls and young lads and young kids are inspired by our team, the men's team. But equally, the women's team inspire a generation of young girls to get involved with the game and go to watch and support. Hoops, I think you wanted to put in.
Yeah, just very quickly because I've got to depart shortly, so I'll leave you gentlemen to it because I've got quite an early start in the morning, and I'm more than happy to have a wider discussion on this at a later stage because it probably deserves that. It's frustrating. I think ultimately, though, to your point, David, we take the finances away from it. The idea that you can be competing something, to Chris's point, all season to something that was never going to be obtainable. It's like, I don't know, you study for your exams all year and then it's like, well, we're never going to give you the qualification for it. It's absolutely crazy, isn't it, really? And it sends the wrong message and you lose really good people. And yes, it's not a huge money maker. I absolutely get that. But what we're talking about in, the scheme of it, like you say, £1 million isn't a huge amount, but actually the difference, the tangible difference it will make to kids in the area who perhaps can't afford to go to the men's game as well, for example, who have access to these young girls playing, but also on a sporting level that they give everything, but they can't actually go anywhere with it is absolutely ludicrous. So I'm going to have to leave you on that because I need to depart. But I'll leave you guys to carry on the debate, and I'll catch up with you all good people very soon.
Well, thank you and Howler for that. We are going to be wrapping up shortly anyway, mate. So thank you ever so much for that and coming in on that. I appreciate everyone's comment on this. Like Chris has said, look, at the end of the day, why do you have to keep scoring PR own goals? Why does it keep having to happen? Why? It's like you've done okay the season tickets, and then it's just a PR own goal that didn't need to happen. What I want to be hearing from the board and Jeff, I want to be hearing in the next couple of days that they are going to be back in the women's team, that they are going to be submitting an application for next year. Obviously, they wouldn't have been able to go up because they finished second. So it's the point that had they have won, there needs to be communication coming out of Wolverhampton Wanderers that they are back in the women's team very, very quickly. Assurances given to the girls, to the manager, and that they will be submitting a bid should they win the championship, win their division next year, that they will get promoted. And Chris, I'm pretty sure that's the sort of communication that the hopefully the trust will be putting out. Am I about right?
I mean, he's still raw, Dave, and I think we're having discussions there about what's likely to come out and what we'd like to see from the club. I mean, look, this man above me, this way here, he has regularly said that the ownership of this club tends to start reacting when things go really well and put brakes on because we don't want it to go too well and get into very good positions and have to invest in European football and things like that. And you know, it's really, really weird that the minute the first team started to turn a corner and everything's looking like we're all pushing in the same direction. You know, we're singing about Connor Cody on Saturday, but the whole ground is singing about him, which hasn't happened for God knows over a year. And we're all rowing in the same way, and it looks like something's going to happen. And you know, everybody's excited about the summer and next season and what this team can do. And it's just, yeah, we need to put the brakes on here, something to stop this happening. And I think that's it's sad.
Don't forget, well, Dave, don't forget, well, that China as a country, this isn't me saying, this is fact. They women basically do as they're told in China, and when you've just commented on Jeff Shee having 2 daughters, I don't think that's going to really resonate with him, Dave. It's about making money, and that's it. And unfortunately, at this present moment in time, it's not a money maker, and he will not back it. He's not going to turn around.
It's not going to become a money maker unless if you invest in something, you actually invest in, like you invest. If you don't invest in the Wolves team, like what's happened, we go backwards and nearly get relegated. You don't. If you don't invest in if you invest in the women's team, they'll get to a higher level. There'll be more sponsorship available, more eyes on it, and more people will come. And you've got to grow. You've got to invest in grow. They're investing so much. They've invested so heavily into esports, which, you know, fine. It's this Red Bull model that they can sell sponsorship across, but they've invested in that, and that's grown. So the same principle should happen for the women's team, which is women's football's growing. Now, I'll just want to hear, so hopefully there's some more positive news that'll come out about this, because I can understand if Beth Merrick's gone on social media, and she's probably getting into a load of crap for doing so, because they're not supposed to, as players, go, you know, it's hard to get the access, but she's put it out there as a fan, and fair play to her for doing that. Then
well, what they're going to do, Dave, tear up a professional contract.
Well, exactly. Then, you know, it's raised an issue. We want to talk about it. Let's hope that they sort this out properly and there's some assurances given.
The sad thing is, Dave, Jeff won't even know who Beth is.
Well, he will actually, because to be fair, Jeff has gone to watch the women's game. He does go. He has been. I've seen him actually at the games. He does go to watch the women, so that's the thing. And I think he's taking his girls with him to watch them as well. So it's.
I mean, look, you could get to find out this has all been some terrible admin error, and you know, but I can't believe that something as significant as that would be missed by somebody.
Well, you wouldn't hope so in a thing, but let's say we've made our point. I think the message will be out there. It's not gone down well on social. We've covered it today. Let's hope it gets sorted. There's news coming out tonight as well that negotiations are ongoing with signing with Semedo with a new contract. I think it's fair to say, Sutty, Chris, we'd welcome that he signed another couple of years for Wolves. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, been a great captain. Really flourished as a captain. I didn't think he was captain material, though I did like him as a fullback. But he's been outstanding this year.
He has, and we're going to finish off now because we have gone over the 2 hours because there's so much. We're not going to do Room 101. We're going to talk about pre-seasons when we're in a bit more in future weeks. But if you've got any questions now for Chris, Sutty, myself, the panel on anything, now's your time to bang them down for the last 5 minutes of the show, and then we'll all have a cup of tea when we finish, because I bet the producer will be waiting for me, and you guys will be waiting for you as well. So it has been a big one tonight, but Sutty, it was always going to be a big one with you back on, wasn't it, mate?
I never shut up, do I? So.
So, yeah, if you've got any Q&A, just whilst you're doing that and you're dropping the question, Chris, thoughts for Man City Friday night for the men's team? We started off on a big positive. Let's go back onto that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked yesterday, didn't we, when we met up, and I said, look, we've gone from having a manager where we couldn't, where I said it at the start of the season, I couldn't see where we were winning the game with that manager. We've now gone from that to a manager where I go in every game thinking we can win, and I think we can go to Man City and win with a fair wind, and the manager's going to play a team that's tactically set up and structured to try and win the game. So what? Let's carry on the run. Let's keep going.
What's your score prediction?
I can see a 2-1 win.
Love it. Sutty?
Yeah, same here. There's no reason why we shouldn't go there and think that we can't get something tactically. We are stratospheres ahead of what we were under Gary O'Neill. I don't want to talk too much about him, but he proved to be pretty inept, and he lost a changing room of a bunch of players that should be nowhere near where we were. You got half of Brazil's bloody national squad in it. It shouldn't be in the bottom three, especially second from bottom. It was disgraceful, and it was just turmoil, wasn't it? But I think Vitor Pereira's got to set up properly. 3-4-2-1, very hard to break down, very quick in the transition, and I think on a Friday night we can go there and get something. So I totally agree with my friend down there, and I'm going to go for a 2-1.
Love it. Chris, to you, Gordon Evans wants to know, should we sign Joe Felix or not? We have the opportunity.
Just before I answer that, Dave, just going back, I mean, we are going to be playing with Mr. Nunes as a right back for Man City on Friday.
Yeah.
So, with Manetzi, Kuna, and Strand Larsen pressing, let's see how fun that's going to be, because I think it will be. Jack, look, the way I am with it, we can sign whoever Vitor Pereira wants to sign. I'm not going to say players anymore. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
Love it. Steve O. Bowman wants a message to Sutty. Being a Jeff Shee fan, how many Easter eggs do you think he got?
Christ, not many, I wouldn't have thought, especially from the paying public.
Fair enough. For both of you, Patrick Maurice, will we make Europa conferences next season? And can we replace the quality of Cunha? Chris first. I think you're on mute, Chris.
Will we make Europa Conference next season? Well, I think with this manager, we could probably do that. We could even probably get a bit higher, if he's given what he's needed in the summer. And can we replace the quality of Kuna as an individual? No, but as a football team playing together, yes.
Nice answer. Sutty?
Just as he just said, I think Cunha is that sort of, he's an individual. There are moments of brilliance, lift you off your seat. He's a little bit like what Grealish was for Villa a few years ago. Everything had to go through him, but eventually they sold up. And look at Aston Villa. They sold their individual star and became a team and got in the Champions League, got to the last 8 of the Champions League, got to FA Cup semi-finals, top 4 of the Premier League. That's what we have got to aspire to do. My only concern is whether these owners want to get there.
Well, my understanding is that there are already things lined up. Apparently for people that they know who they are, they know who they're bringing in. The people that they're bringing in know who they are. How true that is, I don't. Well, no. It comes on to an interesting question now. I'll come on to Carl's in a second. North Street wants to know, Will they back Vitor, Chris?
I think they've got to. I think it's a pivotal summer really for the football club. I can't see them not backing the manager. I don't even want to consider what would happen if we were into that position, to be honest.
So, I think from what you were saying, you're expecting them to hopefully next year. I think Chris also you mentioned there's a £60 million at PSR that's dropping off as well. So we have quite a bit of with potential player sales, quite a bit of firepower in the summer if they want to use it. Is that a fair comment? Sutty?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think they will spend next year. They don't have a lot of choice. If this manager had been a flop, say, and we'd have finished 17th, I don't think they would have really gone for it. But with the push we're making now, and obviously every place is £2.5 million.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money could be generated, and so that gives you a lot more leverage in a transfer window as well. I think they will, and due to the World Cup year as well, I think they'll want to look.
And the 150th anniversary is in the World Cup year as well.
So you've got all of these things that could trigger some big spending.
Nice. Okay. JS 96. Who would you give the R-band to if Semedo leaves this summer? We're hoping he does sign a new contract, Chris. Agbadou, yeah. Sutty?
I'm surprised Agbadou didn't get it when Semedo went off on Saturday. He gave it to Jose Sarr, which is a little bit surprising, but I don't know why Agbadou's not taking it now.
Sutty?
Agbadou,
yeah, he's a leader, isn't he? Here we go. Terry Leverage. Does the panel think we should build a new stadium or renovate Molineux, Sutty?
Look, my big fear with a new stadium is the demise of Wolverhampton City Centre. It's crucial to the funding of
the economy.
Absolutely. And I think if it was moved out to the 54 corridor, I think you would see absolute turmoil in Wolverhampton. Look, the plans that they had that we all saw 8 years ago, that is what we need. And it's a city centre football club. I think it should remain a city centre football club. If it was the same as the North Bank all the way round, that'll keep us going for the next 30, 40 years.
Yeah. Chris?
No, you see, I and Keith and myself have spoken about this many a time on the way down to Wembley about new stadiums and stuff like that. And I'm all for building a new stadium and I don't think we are going to survive in the Premier League in the next 10, 15 years unless we massively change how we bring in revenue on a match day, but more importantly on non-match days. Now, if they can do that in the city centre and do what they need to do to make all of that infrastructure changes, great. But I just think it's an impossible task where it's situated, and it's going to have to be done outside the city centre to get all of that in and make that a new tourist type constant in-use facility.
Right, and that's obviously going to be an ongoing debate. That one is. Just regards Tom Bennett, who says they're getting rid of FFP next year. No, they're not. They've voted to keep it in for another season. So that's just put you right on that one if that helps you. They are talking about changing to that other model, but they ain't going with it for next season. And Ellie wants to know, Sutty, what's your back five next season?
Well, we'll have Agbadu in the centre as general. I'm having Totti Gomez on the left. I'll have him Mosquera on the right. And if Semedo stays, he'll be my right back. And if I've got a funny feeling Aït-Nouri will go, and that would be Hugo Bueno for me in there.
Fantastic. Chris, do you concur with that?
Yeah, but Niall needs to get some pipe cleaners and put them in his ears, because I said non-match day revenue. That's not just tourist revenue, non-match day revenue. That means the football club earns money every day of the week, not just on a match day. Back five next year to me will be Hugo Bueno at left back, thankfully. Agbadu, Totti, Mosquera, and then Semedo.
Fantastic. We won't be taking any more questions because we've run well over today, 2 hours 20. It's always a great show, but obviously with the Wolves women thing and other things, I've had to cut some things out of what we were going to be doing. But I want to say thanks to Craig, thanks to Hoops, Sooty, Cheerful, all of the people that have sent in videos. Thank you. If you've nice for Oz as well. That was great at the beginning of the show. From Chicago for phoning in, absolutely fantastic. One thing I just want to say before I go, hearing fellow creator and friend Robbie Meakin, who does the WCR FM show on a Wednesday, organises a lot of stuff for charity. In fact, I'm playing in a charity football tournament. You can come and watch me at AFC Wolveronians. I think it's a week on Sunday. I will talk more about that over the next week. You can get tickets, raising money for a good cause. Funny enough, I'm in the dressing room with Macca for that game. He's playing in that match and I'm in the same side as him and Gary Poundland and people like that. So that'd be quite fun. But Robbie Meekins put a thing out today saying that he went into hospital yesterday and he's had some tests and I don't know what form of cancer it is, but he's got a form of cancer and he's going to be not about for a little while whilst he's having treatment. I just want to say on behalf of everyone associated with Always Wolves, the WCR FM team also enter a 7-a-side to support the with the Content Creators Cup to the fundraising for the foundation. Robbie's organises that. I want to, on behalf of all of us here on Always Wolves, wish him all the very, very best and hopefully for a really good outcome for him. And we're sending our love and thoughts and best wishes to him. And I'm sure both you, Sooty and everyone in the chat, will concur with that.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, so we'll keep you up to date with Robbie's situation. As I say, if you look earlier in the show as well, Amy Guy, and Manny's done the marathon today, so their links are on the chat if you look earlier. And yeah, brilliant show, ups and downs, a bit like Wolves season. But thank you ever so much for getting involved. If you haven't before, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave your thoughts in the comment section if you're watching it back on catch up. And thank you for all of you guys, and of course the Creation Wolf again for supporting us as well. From myself, Chris, Sooty, the rest of the team, and you guys in the chat, Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.